Sanjiv, it's a pleasure to have you. A couple of challenges for people from both sides. One, who are trying to build careers and business in this sector. Two, people who are trying to invest their money into this sector. But they haven't yet seen the returns. It's been 6-7 years. I know it's a long cycle. What I want to ask is it money worth well invested? That's the question in this particular segment.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me here. My company, which is Technip in general, and then I'm from a spin-off of that company, which was created last year after the acquisition of Stone & Webster company. So it has become one of the global business units for providing technologies, onshore technologies and downstream technologies to the world in energy sector, mainly refining, hydrogen, ethylene, gas to liquids, and to cover the entire range and support our other segments of business, which are deep sea and offshore. So we also are pretty prominent in FLNG, which is floating LNG, and also our expertise from the deep sea with all the marine helps us to build as a synergistic total value chain product for the energy sector from upstream to downstream. So that is where I come from, is hydrogen syngas alternative energy sector. I've been in this for many years of my career, and we are the world leaders in hydrogen market, supply of hydrogen plants and technology to refining mainly so far. But in future there is a big, and I presented that in the recent breakout session, is that there is a major play of alternative energy in the future landscape for the demand of energy, which we see in next 20 to 30 years. So people are of course very weary about the challenge we have in energy demand, which is expected to increase by 50% in next 20-25 years. And also not just because of the population growth, but also the quality of life is improving, especially in the high population regions of the world like India and China. So there is an immense amount of thrust and impetus for developing innovative technologies and disruptive and non-disruptive ways to accomplish this task of fulfilling this demand growth. So where we come from is that we try to realize and make it happen all the innovations which are taking place in the world by different companies, that we either license their technology or we have our own proprietary technologies, and we sort of integrate the entire spectrum so that we can have a safe, environmentally friendly and efficient production unit for energy, for refining, for petrochemicals, and for all other usage of energy sector. So including biofuels, we are in renewable wind energy. We have a wind offshore full unit in the office. So we are looking into new arenas of energy in which the future generations will find more comfort in terms of not only availability but also environmental friendliness. I think most of the younger generation is quite sort of concerned about the climate change, and I respect that. So we are finding ways to accomplish the task of low carbon energy and renewable energy which can be sustainable in the long term. And I think we are playing as an engineering contractor a very big role in bringing the innovators and the technology and the end users, and to bridge the gap, to install and make these installations in a very cost effective and quality and safe way.
When it comes to investments, whether investment comes from your company itself or investment comes from...
No, the investment comes from the end user or the investors of that end user. We only provide engineering, procurement and construction services for the license processes, and we provide a full lump sum turnkey projects for our proprietary technologies, which are hydrogen, ethylene cracking, ethylene recovery, and some of the... After with Stone & Webster, we have a very prominent FCC technology, and refining technology, gas to liquids, and of course the ethylene cracking technology comes from them as well. So we are looking into ways how to, in the larger overview of betterment of the society, that the engineering plastics, the use of plastics, now we are going into bioplastics and then biofuels in terms of renewable energy. They're all coming together as a composite way of dealing with future needs of the people, and we want to see that our coming generations will live a better quality of life than us, and they have to conquer those challenges in a very effective way.
When we talk about the next generation, the other important milestone to help them with is to find jobs in this growing sector. So there has to be career change, there has to be educational focus in these areas.
Sure.
So I wanted to learn from you, since you're in the industry, how do you prepare to bring the next generation of workforce into the workforce?
Yes, and I think that's a very, very good question, and very, very sort of prominent question, which comes up as a challenge to a lot of companies, that finding the talent pool lately has been a biggest challenge for companies to not only survive, to grow, but also to survive. And I think I was just talking to people that of course there was a time when petroleum engineering was the prime job pursuit for chemical engineers, and they were the best rewarded. And then a little slackened time came between 1995 to 2005, that decade it slowed down and slumped. The oil and gas industry was in the bad shape, because $10 a barrel oil stayed for many years, or 10 to 20. And then everybody was rushing to IT with the Y2K, and then all the investment and banking. So everything attracted except petroleum and oil and gas industry. Now that has really turned around with this new wave of energy, especially with shale gas and also the demand and alternative energy, that it is back to as the prime field for young engineers and students looking into future, that there is a real bump back into the enrollment numbers, into the people who want to pursue these careers, and into the rewarding packages we have to give to these engineers to develop this field further. So I have seen that it's very difficult to find people with 15 years experience because of that dip which came in the mid-90s. So I think that's a great future for younger people to take up these careers, to fill up that gap, and also to look for solutions to the new challenges. And they will be, I think, one of the best golden period is for the oil and gas industry in next 20, 30 years, which has never been. And it's not just oil and gas industry. With it comes a scores of allied industry, automation, instrumentation, materials, catalysts, shipbuilding, fracking, all the materials, all the innovations which come, software and internet. So all these things have to integrate. So it's not just one industry, it takes with it at least 20 more industries, and that's, I think, is a great future for the younger students, and I'm sure, and they are very much aware of that, and this will be a very, very rewarding experience for them. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.